Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to the Chocobros podcast, episode 2. This time I have Clayton with me. Say hello, Clayton.
Hey guys, how you doing?
I finally got him. Or at least one half of the European...
I should be playing Final Fantasy 15, man.
You should. Well, you could do that while we're talking if you want. I don't know if you're capable of doing both.
I'm joking. It can wait, man.
Alright, well, this is the second episode of this podcast, where we talk about all things Final Fantasy. Mm-hmm. I have Clayton here with me. Mark, unfortunately, couldn't make it to this episode. But I'm hoping we can maybe edit him in at the end where he can throw in some dialogue. If not, then, I hope he can make it to one of the, third or fourth episodes just as soon as possible. We miss Mark.
Be all together at one episode.
Yes, exactly. So this is part 2 of the origins, which was on the first episode, which I discussed with Brandon. We discussed our origins, so we're gonna mostly concentrate on Clayton's story. I might throw in, some additional information if I remember anything, but it's mainly gonna be you, Clayton. So you can proceed. Where did Final Fantasy enter your life? When did that happen?
All right. So back in the 90s. I used to be also a PC gamer, and magazines were a big thing back then. I used to buy magazines with demos, so try out these new games back then. And at some point, I bought a demo where there was Final Fantasy VII on PC, and I said, "Alright, I'm gonna try this out." And honestly, back then I had a Pentium 1 computer. And
I bet that was fast as hell.
Oh,
I said I bet that was super fast.
Oh man, the speed of the game was like half the speed of original, and there wasn't even any music. It was just sound effects. I had an issue with the performance for sure.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because the soundtrack of 7 is amazing.
Yeah,
so.
I love it. It's still one of my favorites. It might be nostalgia talking, but it's still one of my favorite soundtracks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I installed it. I tried the demo, and the demo actually plays for the guys who ever play Final Fantasy VII. The demo plays in Mount Coral. You start off from the beginning of the path, and it finishes in the gondola station just before you board on for the gold saucer. I still remember that the demo did not have any world map, so if you try to exit the location, it wasn't possible. Thing is, it was also my first JRPG ever, and I had no idea how the game plays back then.
Yeah.
But
well, that's funny because I didn't mention in the first episode, Final Fantasy wasn't even my first RPG. It was my first complex RPG, but did you ever play Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario RPG on the Super Nintendo?
I played it much later on, actually. Just a few years ago, I tried it on my PSP and
just
emulator.
Oh wow, yeah. That was actually my first RPG, and even that at the time was kind of complex for me, which is funny because now I clean shop when I play RPGs. I'm an RPG master, but. That was my first one, so that's kind of funny because that was Super Nintendo, but you had 7 on the PlayStation was your first. So
yeah, actually, when I got the actual game, it was on PlayStation, and there is another story to that. Eventually, I finished the demo, and some time passed, and while I was in primary school, this girl who also back then happened to be my first crush.
All right, nice.
Randomly came talking to me, and she said that her brother couldn't play this game, and she wanted me to try it. And I recall that he couldn't get past the first boss, which apparently was that scorpion robot, which was in that reactor. And anyway, I realized it was Final Fantasy VII, and I said, "Wow, I'm going to play this game finally." And I thought that this game was going to start in Mount Coral, but apparently, when I booted the game, it took me to this huge, from the intro, took me to this huge city called Midgard. Before I played the game, and I tried the demo, but I had no idea of the city whatsoever.
We all know that city very well. Yes,
oh, definitely. Thing is, back then, the game was NTSC, and I did not have the required cable, so I was playing it in black and white.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, first.
So no sound, black and white. Jeez, all sorts of
all sorts of problems. That's not beautiful. But anyway, yeah.
And you still fell in love with the game.
Oh, fucking right. Thing is, I played it till when. Spoiler alert, by the way. Till when Sector 7 collapses, because then the game froze for some reason, and that's when I decided that, it's time to return the game and buy a PAL version, which I did. And and the game was suddenly so damn colorful.
Yeah. Your eyes were open and you saw all sorts of things that you had never experienced before.
Exactly. And man, Final Fantasy back then, 7 was my first one. It was a huge new experience, man. It's about exploration, world maps, type of battles, storytelling, characters. It was so unique back then, man. I think, I think it's one of the reasons that it's one of my favorite games of all. It's my favorite game of all time because it was refreshing in every way. I mean, apart from
absolutely. For sure. I mean, 7 and 10 are, I don't know, I always say 7 and 10 are equally my favorite, and then when I go back to play them again, I kind of start leaning more one way than the other. But if I really had to pick one, I would say that 7, like if I was stuck on an island and they're like, hey, you somehow can play PlayStation and you can pick one game, I would pick 7. Like that would be...
I mean, to be honest, man, Final Fantasy X, I really loved it back then on the PS2, and I couldn't wait for the remaster. And the remaster, the quality is really good. But when I tried the game, I used to remember it was more epic. Like I used to like Tidus, but when I tried the game again 2 years ago, I kind of hated him actually.
Well, he looks silly as hell. I mean, he's got the one longer pant leg and I don't know what kind of weird coat thing he has. He just looks kind of goofy, but
I don't mind the outfit and everything, but it's his annoying character. Like, I need food and I really hate
he's hungry. Well, well, the laughing sequence is
terrible.
That's amazing. I mean, amazingly terrible, but it's amazing.
That's the place.
Well, did you see recently? Did you see recently the video of the voice actor who had somebody did that? What was it? It was all the songs of 10, but in Titus's laughter.
Oh my god! Yeah.
So the original voice actor saw it, and then he did like a reaction video to it, and he like did the laugh in it. It was pretty funny. So
I mean that's what the hell.
Yeah, what were you thinking, Square? What were you thinking?
Yeah. But anyway, now we've got 15, and they're like, oh yeah, we're kings, we're princes, we're badass, we're warping everywhere. So yeah, I think they've found the right path finally.
Yeah, exactly. But I just want to stick a little longer. So you said you played the demo from a gaming magazine. So was that like your only exposure to video games was through magazines at the time, or?
Well,
because I'm trying to think. To be honest, the internet wasn't around yet, right?
Sorry?
I said the internet wasn't really around yet, right?
Oh, no, none at all. I used to get the gaming news from magazines, and it used to be amazing, because like there was this, I forgot the names of the magazines, but hey, let's pick one. Like for example, a random name. There was this magazine called Playzone. Maybe.
Yep.
And I used to say, hey, I can't wait for next month's issue of Playzone because their content is amazing. I could try out new games from this demo and maybe buy a few of them. So I mean, thanks to these magazines, I got to know Final Fantasy because I had no other information to see it from back then. I mean, if you needed to see, back then, if you needed to see trailers or something, you had to go and get a demon. I mean, fuck the internet, it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah. Were games expensive? Like, pardon my ignorance because I don't know. What's the currency that you use there?
Back then, we had our own currency. It was the Maltese lira.
Okay, lira. Okay.
Nowadays, since Malta joined the European Union, it also changed its currency to euro.
So you use euro then?
Yeah, nowadays we use euro, but
Okay.
back then it was our own very pound, the Maltese pound.
I gotcha. So, because I'm like almost trying to do the math just because I'm curious. Like, what was what the games cost? Like, what did Final Fantasy VII cost back then when you bought it? Do you remember? Or?
You really want to know? All right.
Yeah.
So
I am curious. Yeah.
Back then I was young and my parents took care of my gaming life.
Yes.
Purchasing games and stuff, and Malta was really popular. It was really common to piracy. So you see what I'm getting there with them. So I mean, there was a point in my life where I didn't have original games, but I was getting them in Hobbit cities.
Gotcha.
I mean,
well, people still do it, so
yeah. I mean, nowadays, ever since the PS2 came along, I got used to buying original games, and I even bought some PS1 games like Final Fantasy VII. Nowadays, I have original games.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean, but back then I still remember the prices, and they were ridiculously high.
Yeah.
No, I mean seriously.
So for 7, what was it for 7 then, if you remember?
For 7, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm talking about euro, if you don't mind.
Yes.
Because to be honest, I've gotten so much used to the euro that I've actually, unfortunately, forgotten my own Maltese currency from back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it happens. Anyway, regarding euro, it was definitely around 50 euro.
50 euro?
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, nowadays, PS4 game may cost like 55, 60 for a standard game. So it really wasn't far away. It was
yeah, I mean that's not that bad. I mean I googled 50 euro to US dollars and it says about $53, so that's not that far off. I mean our games are 60 here. At the time games were for PlayStation 1 I guess they fluctuated.
I mean listen,
I think
it's often I often discuss this with a friend, but I mean there are a lot of people working behind these games nowadays, and
absolutely.
And someone comes and say, "Hey, well, come on, games are expensive; they're not worth it. You can download them illegally." And something. I mean, no, man. People actually work this for a very long time. Their own personal projects. I mean, by buying them, you're supporting them. I mean,
absolutely.
That's
especially
that's my mentality.
Especially then, like that game was expensive. I forget what I was listening to. What the hell was I listening to? I was listening to, I think, something, a podcast maybe? Or watching just some random Final Fantasy video. And Final Fantasy VII, the budget for that game was obscene. It was like upwards of $200 million. Like, it was expensive. Yeah, it was expensive. Even and you figure this is back in the 90s. So, like, that's insane.
Yeah, it's huge, man. It's really huge.
Yeah. But it was worth it, because that game's amazing, so...
You know what? There's also a bonus to my introduction to Final Fantasy. I'm just going to mention something from Final Fantasy VIII.
Oh yes, please share your bonus.
Well, one time Final Fantasy VIII came around, but the Japanese version, because the English version was still not available, but apparently it did make it to Malta, and copies were going around, and I'm like, I remember I've asked my mom, "Ma, I want to buy this game, Final Fantasy VIII. It's in Japanese. Can you buy it?" And she was like, "Why the hell do you want to buy a game that you wouldn't understand?" And I told her,
parents don't understand.
Nah, it's Final Fantasy. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually, I did not buy it.
Boo.
And I had to wait for the English version. But you know what? I think it was for the best, because I wouldn't understand shit, and I would spoil my my gameplay.
Exactly. You would have just saw all of these things with your eyes, but you would have had no idea what was going on. So.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm going to be honest, I wasn't patient enough with waiting for 15 that I wanted to download the Judgment disc that was in Japanese. I mean, I couldn't understand shit, but I saw what was going on. So when I tried the game, when I bought the game and tried it, and I was going through the very same sequences from the demo, but in English. I mean, I now understand what they were saying, but I already saw what they were going to do.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, as far as, and we'll actually get, so I mean, 15, we're going to talk about 15 next. Mm-hmm. But in regards to the Judgment Disc demo, I mean, for me personally, like, I was really kind of against doing it. Like, I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I was like, you know what? I want to see what the actual finalized combat is, because that's the last thing that everybody was sort of having any complaints about at all. Everyone's like, the camera, and I mean, I don't know. So I wanted to see for myself if the combat was different than the Duscae demo, and it definitely is.
Yeah, it was a huge improvement.
For sure. And even from the Platinum demo, which I didn't hate the Platinum demo. See, the problem with the Platinum demo is that everyone played it, and they didn't realize what it really was, and it was just a tech demo. It was just to show how the game looked, sort of the vibe of the game, and just kind of like a little cutesy thing where he's like a kid in a dream sequence, and he's hanging out with Carbuncle, You know
what? The thing about these demos, if you don't mind mentioning, I'm gonna start talking about the Platinum demo. The thing is, the Platinum demo was the first ever public demo for Final Fantasy 15. And people, and I don't blame them, to be honest, expected that they're going to play what the game would be. But instead, you've got young Noctis, in his dream world, watching tech, the atmosphere going around, the text, sunlight, and everything, magic effects.
Yes.
But the gameplay, was kind of to a certain point limited, and the world was different to what the game was actually going to portray. But I did understand that idea because, the concept, the story, in this demo, it was from when Noctis was young, so it was way before the game even plays. So I understood them. But for the first public demo, I think they would have went for something like Episode Duscae, in my opinion. Which comes to my next question. To my next remark. Episode Duscae, it was the first ever demo that came out, which wasn't public. I mean, you had to buy Type 0 HD in order to get it, and it was it was a good way to show how the game was actually going to work. I mean, there wasn't the tech stuff that Platinum demo showed, but it actually show the world that will be in the game.
Yes.
And so
how the world is fleshed out.
Yeah, exactly. And so finally, Judgment Disc came out, and Judgment Disc was straight out of the game, and that was
first chapter, right?
Exactly. It was the perfect demo to show and to represent the game. The problem is, it was simply Japanese, and you had to download it from a Japanese account. And I'm like, hello, we are non-Japanese, and we are going to buy the game. You could have at least shown it in English to show more interest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What Square should have done with the reveal event, which is another little dark mark in the whole 15 legacy, them announcing September 30th and then it being delayed, but we're not going to discuss that. They should have designed the Platinum demo as literally, like, it should have said Platinum demo on the screen, right? And then under it should have said Tech demo. And they should have had the demo itself end before the Iron Giant fight.
Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the Platinum demo. It was, unique in a certain way. I mean, it's like they show interest in Noctis' past, but hey, you are representing a game, and the demo, I mean, it represented the tech stuff, but not the world that you are about to play in. To a certain aspect, I guess.
Well, yeah, because so when you got to the actual fight, the Iron Giant, like, you change into adult Noctis.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're fighting the Iron Giant. Like, the entire fight is Carbuncle is healing you. So there's no difficulty because even when your HP hit 0, Carbuncle was healing you, and there was no urgency or no need to feel like you need to, mess around with the combat, like have fun with it. People were just holding square, and everyone's like, "This is the combat. This is stupid."
Yeah,
and that's not the case.
Exactly. No, it's not. I mean, I've also tried the Judgment demo and the game, and
yes,
I can guarantee the battle system is amazing. I really
absolutely.
love it.
Yeah, it's definitely unique.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, even they're basing the characters of this brotherhood, and even the battle system. It's like a teamwork. It's excellent. They really did it this time with it.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously they've had, like in Final Fantasy XII, you had two other characters along with you, and you could manipulate the AI to make them do specific things.
Exactly.
But obviously in this one, a lot of it is them kind of doing things on their own. But obviously they have like those attacks that build up in that green meter on the left, and you can have them unleash a special attack. So
yeah. I mean, even throughout the game, you get to learn more special effects, attacks, which differ. I mean, some of these attacks actually exist in the older games, like the attack Tempest. Gladiolus uses that, and actually it's a classic attack from the older games. So
yes,
it's kind of nice to see them around nowadays too.
Yeah. Well, then, so we'll go into got your origin. Your origin actually is cool because it's almost sort of like mine. Like 7 and 8 were the two games that I first dabbled in, so it's kind of interesting that those were yours also. So I can appreciate that. But yeah, we can talk about 15 now. You're kind of a jerk because you already have the game, so you're a jerk.
I mean, no, to be honest, man, I was surprised that I got it yesterday because on Thursday they told me, it's probably coming on a Monday, and I was like, oh fuck, I've got another weekend without it. And then I received a message. They told me there's a high probability that it's coming tomorrow, Friday. And I was like, holy shit, man. Final Fantasy 15 is coming tomorrow. And eventually, it actually did, man. And you know what? I was so psyched to buy the game that I've told the game arrived at the shop around 10 a.m. and I only had to pick it up at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So the game had 6 hours waiting at the shop. And I told the shopkeeper that he better not sell it to anyone else because I'm coming for that damn game.
You threatened him.
But I thanked him afterwards. So
Well, of course, it's generous of him. So it's the least he can do for giving you a game that's not even technically out yet.
Right.
Well, so obviously, full disclosure, you have the game already, so you've had a little more hands-on time with it than some of us have.
Yeah. I mean, so far, I'm not going to mention any spoilers. Currently, I'm in chapter 2. I'm doing a lot of side stuff. I'm taking it slowly on the storyline, and I'm really digging the game. It's the promised game that we've been waiting for. I mean, it's not disappointing in any way. The only thing, I've noticed that, I might have expected better, but, it's not that annoying, to be honest. The dialogue, some phrases can be repetitive at some point.
Repetitive, yeah.
And,
that's bound to happen, especially with such a large game. Like, I feel like even other games that, I don't know, like, I'm sure even in Grand Theft Auto you hear things like
exactly.
that. Maybe.
Every game does it, man. So it's like no big deal, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, before we, because obviously you can speak a lot more to it than I have since you have actual hands-on time with it. But I've certainly done my research and I know some things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to first mention the anime and Kingsglaive, the movie. Right. So to people who don't know, who haven't watched them, I would definitely recommend watching both. Definitely. The movie, I think the movie is definitely more of a requirement, but if you care about the relationship of the Brotherhood, all 4 of the characters, Noctis, Prompto, Ignis, and Gladiolus, I would recommend watching the anime for sure.
Oh, I agree. You know what? before I saw the anime, I really disliked Prompto. He wasn't my favorite. But after after that, because the anime explores the origins of those characters, how they became the brotherhood they are nowadays. And after seeing Prompto's episode, he's actually my favorite character right now. He's he's the life of the party. He's hilarious. He even made a few puns which I did not expect.
Yeah. Well, I saw I know you had posted a video, but when I was playing the Judgment Disc demo, I actually stumbled across it myself after we fought some monsters. He did the victory fanfare, the bum, 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 bum. I was like, oh my god, that's amazing.
He also during the game when I played it, he also said something. It's not spoilery, but I'm not sure if I should mention it or not, but it's like one of these references also, like the victory fanfare, similar. You think it's a spoiler if I mention it?
Okay. I mean, I don't know. If you're worried about, making anyone disgruntled, then maybe you could avoid it. But if you think it's not a big deal, I don't think so,
because it's like part of the random dialogue, which is humor, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I personally don't care, but it's up to you. I'll leave it up to you if you think you want to not mention or mention it.
All right. Now, basically, maybe if you don't want to hear it for the next 10 seconds. Basically, Prompto says that he's seeing the scenery and he's like, man, the scenery is similar to an RPG I used to play. And it's like
it's a little fourth wall breaking.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like he's mentioning Final Fantasy in a different way. That was kind of amusing.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's cute. No, yeah, Prompto is. I think I probably definitely like Prompto the most just because I find him endearing, and obviously without spoiling his backstory from the anime, he was a kid that wasn't necessarily like everyone else. Again, I don't want to say detail. Yeah, and some other aspects too, but like you watch him kind of go through a struggle, and then he works through that struggle and perseveres, and then he becomes friends with Noctis, and then he's part of the gang. So I really liked that. I liked his story the most.
Thanks to the anime, I actually came to like the guy.
Yeah, exactly. So I would definitely recommend watching the anime for sure. But the movie is very important. I know a lot of reviews said, like, oh, well, you don't need to watch it, or they said, like, oh, if, you're not a huge fan, you can just watch it standalone.
I kind of disagree with that. Do you think?
Which part?
No, I mean, I agree with you. I don't agree with those guys. They say you don't need to watch Kingslave.
Right.
The thing is, Kingslave, I mean, when you play the game, you're going to understand what's happening. But if you do watch Kingslave, I mean, you're going to be more familiar with what went on simultaneously to the first chapter of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be more familiar with the other characters, that are not with the Brotherhood right now, and it kind of adds up, while playing the game.
Well, yeah, because the beginning of the game is, and I don't, I don't want to spoil it, but the beginning of the game is more or less right after the movie. Like the very beginning, I know it sort of intersects with the movie, right? But then it's them on the road, and that's when the car breaks down. The scene that everyone has seen.
Yeah, exactly.
But before that, I know there's a cutscene that actually is technically takes place during the Kingsglaive movie.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so like the Kingsglaive movie very much has its talons within the game. Like it's a part of it. Like it's something you should watch. I'm not going to say you have to, but I would highly recommend watching it for sure.
I would recommend it too. I mean, it's kind of essential, to be honest.
Yeah. Also, you get Luna Freya's sort of introduction. Kind of what her situation is going on with everything, because she's super important to the story.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, without spoiling anything, I used to think that Luna Freya is a damsel in distress, but thanks to Kingslave, she shows that she's more than that.
Oh, for sure. She's definitely seems like a badass.
Yeah.
Like, she knows she has a duty to uphold. What that duty is, we don't know, because obviously we haven't played the game all the way through yet, but she's very, very integral to the story. So, and I can appreciate that, because everyone, who was upset about there being no female characters you can play as, at least there's a female cast who's very strong and kind of compensates for that in different ways.
You know what? There was the Square recently said that there's a possibility that at some point she could be playable, but there's no more.
I did see that.
There's no more information than that. To be honest, I just read the article. But anyway, what I was going to mention is that before, when it was still versus 13, there was Stella, and when 15 came around, there was no mention of Stella, and I was worried that at some point she's going to get removed, and actually she did. Stella, if you remember, she was kind of a badass from the trailers.
Yes.
And and then when the early trailers of 15 came along, and there was Luna Freya looked, and at least from my personal perspective, she looked like one of those typical damsel in distress. And
I could see that.
Yeah, I thought, I wished if Stella was still around. But after watching Kingslave, I realized that there's more to it than that regarding Luna Freya.
Oh, absolutely. And with the Versus 13 trailers back in the day, there was that one specific one where Noctis and Stella met like in the middle of the road, and they basically looked like they were about to fight.
Yeah.
And then you flash forward to what's the name of the trailer? The one that just came out that was all CG, and it was kind of all very... Yes, the Omen trailer, thank you. And it shows, without going into too much detail, there's definitely some conflict there with Noctis and Luna. Mm-hmm. So, and that's all just kind of, who knows what's really going on there, because that could all just be dream sequences and things that don't really happen, or it's an omen, of things to come. Basically, that's why it's called an Omen trailer. So
yeah, exactly.
So I mean that trailer was super cool. I actually like the song in that trailer. It's
actually, the Omen. I mean, I was already hyped for the game, but the Omen trailer actually got me more hyped. I mean, I will finally, I haven't seen the dark side of 15 since it was Versus 13, and finally we've seen the dark side through this trailer. So I'm hoping that at some point in the game, it actually, turns dark.
Yeah. Well, even the Kingslave movie, I mean, towards the end, there's dark stuff that happens. So, without spoiling,
So I'm expecting that it will be this game. I'm expecting that it will be the same with the game, but even dark.
Yes, exactly. Well, so then, all right, so we can go right into the game, I guess. I mean, you told me you've been playing about 12 hours. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, so far, because I had my full-time shift today, which I was tempted to not go to, so I could play more of the game. But I said, fuck it, I'm just going to take the shift.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you need a job, right? Then you won't be able to buy more video games.
Yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm still chapter 2 because I'm doing a lot of side stuff. But I've been exploring the lands, even tools, checking out the battle system, the upgrades, how do you say?
What's the upgrade system called again?
The Ascension.
Ascension, yes, that's what it is. Okay.
I mean, from there, it seems there's a huge variety, because you can either learn regarding combat, you can learn even regarding evasion techniques,
like passive skills.
Yeah, exactly. Which could help out in even defenses and stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's like a huge. It seems like there's a huge variety to learn from obviously, as usual, the AP points.
Yes, which is shared, by the way, for people who don't know. The AP points are shared amongst the entire team.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. I mean, there, like there are some abilities, which, like, for example, this ability can only or technique, or whatever, can only be learned by Noctis, and so that AP can be used for Noctis. But there are also a lot of others that can be shared, like between Noctis and Ignis, or even the whole Brotherhood.
That's interesting. So it's shared skills, but whose tree does it fall under, though?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of, branching at some point.
No, but I mean, so you said that they have, like, shared skills. Do you have to unlock one of the little orbs in each of their skill trees, or do you unlock it in just one of them and then it's a shared ability? Like, how does that work?
No, like, for example, I was, let's talk about combat. Like, there was this tree that I was, unlocking the abilities from. And at some point, I went one of the orbs, and at the side, it details what this ability is all about, and at the side it shows which character it is available. And for example, that ability was for just simply Noctis. But then the next orb was, like, for example, Noctis and Ignis, or just the whole Brotherhood. It depends on the type of ability. Like, for example, there was this ability that involved knife attacks. So knife is, like, coming from Ignis, so it's like an Ignis only ability.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they kind of differ in that case.
And that skill tree that you were looking at, that was under Noctis, though. Is that correct? Or?
Well, it's actually, to be honest, it was under the type of technique. It depends if it's either combat or defense. From what, at least from what I was seeing in Ascension, it was based under what type of abilities you are unlocking. It was either under the defensive abilities, the offensive abilities, but it wasn't under the like, for example, Noctis's abilities. I mean, there was this branch, like fake defensive abilities. For example, this tree, it has these abilities to be unlocked, and like, one of them is for simply Noctis, and it's like, for example, the next one throughout the branch, it could be for the whole party.
Okay. So all right, cool. So there's some variety there.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, cool. I like that. And you can pick and choose the abilities that you want, because if you want to, say, make Noctis more of an offensive player and less defense, you can do that. Like, there's abilities you can skip over, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can, for example, you can also, like the one that you mentioned, with the green boxes, where you choose the abilities for others to, attack the enemy.
Yes.
In that case, you can change the type of attacks. So, you these attacks, you obviously learn them through the Ascension system.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. For example, at some point, actually today, now I remember, Ignis originally had a simple knife attack to close the knives, but I changed it to a new ability that I learned for him only, and this ability consisted regrouping the Brotherhood together. They come in a circle, so they would increase the defensive statistics for temporary time.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
So, I'm still in chapter 2. The beta system is still basic for me, because it's still a bit early, but it already has a lot of content. So I can't imagine what's coming out throughout the game. It does really look fantastic.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of nuance to it, because, I mean, I'm aware of Ignis's first ability, where he throws the daggers at all the enemies around you, and then Noctis will he'll teleport to each one and hit each one too.
Yeah, exactly.
And then does a little attack at the end. So.
And exactly. And in order for Noctis to do this attack, I mean, you have to press the specified button, which is available for a second or two, so you have to be quick or either Noctis will fail the attack.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool though, because Ignis's first ability is more offensive, and then you're saying there's a different ability you unlocked which is more defensive. So exactly. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I like that because then you can kind of mix and match, sort of layouts of abilities and what everyone's strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's very cool. Then the next. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, like for example, there was this ability where you can scan the weaknesses of the enemies, but I didn't choose to unlock it, so it's still unavailable for me.
Was that Libra? Is it that one?
It's actually the same one, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I always like to know how much HP the enemy has. I need to know. I need all the information.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the HP so far has always been displayed, but the weaknesses would not be. So you need the lever.
Exactly. So can you speak to the magic aspect? Have you actually dabbled in that yet, or?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I actually caught the whole Brotherhood on fire by mistake.
Oh, you're a monster.
No, but yeah, I've actually tried to meddle with that. At first, I had just simple fire, where actually, the magic system reminded me to a certain point regarding Final Fantasy VIII, because it makes you draw them from a certain area. But in Final Fantasy VIII,
crystals in the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Final Fantasy VIII, it was like this aura coming out from the ground. But in Final Fantasy 15, it's glowing stones. Depending on what element they are, you draw them from stones. So yeah. So at some point, I decided to use the fire attack, and I did it at close range. Yeah, I mean, I burned the enemy. But at the same time, I burned myself and the rest of the group. They were all on fire.
Whoops.
Yeah, but I really like that because it's a bit more realistic to a certain point because
there's pros and cons to it. Like you wanna hurl a giant magic spell to get a whole bunch of enemies at the same time, but you can also hurt yourself.
Yeah, and I did this attack underground, and I was thinking if I did this, above ground throughout the fields, I would probably have burned a huge patch.
Yeah. Well, I like the effects that they added to it too. Just that's what I love about 15. There's so much little nuance to every little detail. Like even something like casting a fire spell. Like if you're in a grassy area, all the grass just catches on fire.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I just think that is just a really cool detail. I know a lot of other games have little minor details like that too, but I don't know. It's just very specific like that. Or when you use
Final Fantasy had never had such elements added to them.
Yeah,
and so this is
Well, I mean, you can cast magic before, but like the monster wouldn't look like they were charred to death. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
like it applies to Blizzard too. Like when you cast Blizzard, all the environment becomes all frostbitten, and there's like little bits of ice hanging off of things. So
yeah, even the enemy falls into
it. Exactly.
So,
did you implement any items with the magic? Like, did you add a potion to the fire spell or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I tried to mix a mumbo jumbo. Like I picked fire, ice, thunder, and then I accidentally selected an item, and I said, I don't want an item with my magic, and I couldn't find out how to remove the item, so I just said whatever, I'll use potion, and to be honest, I mixed fire, ice, thunder, and potion together, and all I got was healing magic, and I was like, what? Like I'm getting,
that's interesting.
I mean, fair enough, there is potion, but I put fire, ice, thunder. Where the fuck this healing magic came from? I mean, all right.
Yeah, that's not what happens when you mix those three elements.
Yeah, I get it. There are three elements which would make a confusing mess if you think about it. But then there is one simple potion that turns this whole magic into a healing magic. And I don't know.
Well, that can be That could be useful though in a trick if you're all low on health. I'm assuming it healed all of you. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm guessing actually because to be honest, I did not even try it.
Oh, okay.
Because I was expecting an offensive magic, and I saw healing, and I was like, fuck
this. You didn't even use it.
Yeah, and I also, you know how in the previous demo you couldn't die.
Right.
Yeah, I mean every time I die, I kept getting revived. And the demo and the judgment disc.
Okay.
That I did not know about this, and it was the first time experiencing. Apparently, when you die in the game, in the full game, you're given a choice for a few seconds to check out the item menu and use a feeling zone on yourself.
Huh. So it doesn't go game over and load from the last checkpoint or anything?
No, at least at my first death, no. And there is Noctis on struggling to stay, alive. And till that moment, you have to be quick. Go to the item selection and choose feeling zone.
Okay. Well, that's almost like the Dustgate, because in the Dustgate demo, the screen would start kind of flashing, and Noctis would be kind of limping along, like shit. I need somebody to save me. But in the Dustgate demo, you could just summon Ramu, the summon, and he would just destroy everything.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, so far there have been no summons for me.
Right.
But yeah, apparently when you're near, when the HP goes close to 0, you are limping around like the previous demos. But when you literally do not manage to get back up on your feet again and you're attacked to 0 once more, you've got a few seconds to get to the item menu and put a feeling zone on yourself. If you don't, you die.
Interesting.
It already happened to me because I forgot which button was for the item menu, and a few seconds later, Noctis just dropped dead. And it was
okay. So, but did it give you the game over? Okay, so you did get a game over screen.
Yeah,
though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. I experienced my first game over with Final Fantasy
15. That game is so hard.
Nah. You know what I was not expecting, to be honest? I went into my first ever dungeon in the game.
Yes.
And the enemies were like, level wise, they were alright, I guess. Compared to what my level was. And I was like, alright, this dungeon seems that I can go across it now and not later on, because the enemies were, properly leveled for my attacks. But when I got to the end of this dungeon, the boss was a whole other story. Literally, like he attacked me once and he killed one of my characters instantly, so I had to run away.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, I did not expect that because throughout the dungeon the enemies were like easy, and then suddenly you get a really really hard boss. And
was it the samurai? The samurai dude, the Ronin?
I'm not sure. Should I mention this?
Well, they've shown the Ronin monster. He looks like a samurai, but he doesn't have a mouth. So
yeah, it was actually the same guy. Yeah, it was that dungeon.
All right. Yeah, he looks badass. Like I like the art design of that monster.
Yeah, he seems really cool. It reminds me of what was his called? Yojimbo, somewhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So he's the one that you got game over from fighting him too, or did you heal yourself and get out of there?
No, he actually instantly killed Ignis, and I said fuck this shit. So yeah, he wasn't the guy that got me killed. I actually forgot who I got killed by, to be honest. Was it
a little goblin? Did you get taken out by a little goblin?
Actually, now I remember. No, because at some point there was this. Without spoiling anything, there was this unsurprising attack. It's not part of the storyline. It was just an unsurprising attack, which got me limping instantly. And when I started limping, I was in a whole nest of goblins.
Oh Jesus!
And the goblins everyone turned against me, and while I was trying to find the item button, Noctis dropped dead.
Ah, poor guy. That poor Noctis.
He just got out.
He always needs his buddies to get him. Yeah, he always needs his buddies to get him out of a tricky situation.
Oh, yeah.
So then, so you're on chapter 2. You said. So have you seen? Has there been a lot of story stuff that have, cutscenes and things like that? Like, have you actually gotten a decent amount of information, or is it still a little vague what's going on?
No. Well, actually, it's the end of chapter 1 where the story actually starts.
Okay.
So right now, we know about Kingdom getting invaded and everything.
Yes, from the Kingsglaive movie.
Yeah. So it's like now it's where that story starts in the game. It's like, without spoiling anything, the journey has now started, because chapter 1 was like Noctis and the Brotherhood are oblivious of what's going on in the city. And
right, because they still think they're driving to Luna Freya for him to go get married to her.
Can you repeat that?
Oh, yeah, I was saying that they still think that they're taking Noctis to go get married to Luna Freya.
Well, at some point, yeah. You can say that. But
yeah, I mean that's been in all like the trailers and everything. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, at some point that was the plan until the attacks came along. But obviously,
until shit hit the fan.
Yeah, exactly. And so basically, things started happening up and things started getting delayed, and plans change. So some plans have to wait until the others realize what's going on exactly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we can't speak too much to the story, just because there's obviously a lot of spoiler tags on story. You don't want to go into too much detail, so on and so forth.
I don't want to spoil anything, because I understand, guys. This game, first trailer we've seen was 10 years ago, so I understand that we have to appreciate every minute of the storyline without any douchebag spoiling the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I understand where it's coming from.
Yeah, but I mean, the as far as like the vibes of the story, compared to all the games in the series prior to, I mean, Final Fantasy's been around for 30 years, or I'm pretty sure it's been about 30. It's either 29 to 30 years. I think this year was the 30-year anniversary. We've experienced a lot of stories. A lot of ups and downs. Some stories are darker than others.
All right. I guess I know where you're getting. You're saying how is it compared to the others so far? Yeah.
Well, I mean, from literally everything that I've seen myself, I feel like it's going to be like top 3 darkest Final Fantasy stories. That's my opinion.
I can see that going on as well. Well,
yeah.
I'm going to be honest. Like Final Fantasy VII started off with the bombing mission.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of, I mean, with going from like 7 up, there's a lot of themes of there's a lot of darkness, but there's bits of light injected here and there.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I love the series, because like you'll have a moment where like something bad really happened, but like the characters try to kind of persevere through that darkness, and they try to have a lighthearted moment. And that's what I really like about the series, just the characters themselves. Like, while sometimes maybe the writing isn't the greatest, like they're kind of, the characters can be endearing because they're going through this super shitty situation, and they're just trying to kind of figure it out,
Yeah, and exactly. And the thing is, that's what's different about 15, because 15, the story actually, the game starts in a bit of a humorous way since the car broke down.
Yeah.
And so the Brotherhood, are frustrated about the situation, and so they are creating this funny moment, because they are complaining between each other. But it's actually a way for you to get to know the characters also at some point.
Oh, exactly, because they're a brotherhood. Like, they're all friends. They've known each other, as you'll see in the anime. Like, they've technically known each other for a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
So just like guys in real life, when you're hanging out with your bros, like you kind of rag on one another. You kind of poke fun and just kind of try to you have a good time, whatever. So there's that brotherhood, that bond that guys will have where they try to sort of push that through on 15, and that's what makes it different, because again, you don't have females in the main party, so it's just more kind of seeing a dynamic of a bunch of bros hanging out.
Exactly. And thing is, I've noticed that, for example, Prompto, he gets picked on a lot by Noctis and Gladiolus.
Yeah. Well, him and Ignis, right? Don't they call Ignis something to do with his glasses? Don't they call him like Specs or something like that?
Yeah, Specs. And there, if I remember well, there was like a joke like, Ignis, put all of your eyes on the road, because they were joking about his Yeah,
I like that.
There are these small moments, which actually are a great deal for the character development.
Yeah.
For the Brotherhood. I mean, the Brotherhood is essential for the game. I mean, it's the character development, and so far it's been really great. And they're doing good.
Exactly.
They're doing definitely a better job than the past games that we have had recently.
Yeah.
In the past years.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if you're talking about 13, then yes, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest, a lot of people hated Hope, but I like the guy. I liked how he grew from a spoiled brat to a more mature guy. I really like that. But, I mean, so far, Final Fantasy 15 is doing character development on a whole new, better level.
It's good. Well, that's good to hear, so I guess then if that's the case, 15 is obviously better than 13, and I can tell Jesse White that 13 is terrible, and that Final Fantasy 10 is better than Final Fantasy 10 too. So you can go to hell, Jesse.
No, I know. I'm going to be honest.
I have a platform to tell him what's up, so I'm going to use this platform, and I'm going to tell him he's wrong.
I'm going to be honest, and Final Fantasy 13 wasn't that bad. I mean, the plot is amazing. The concept about it is truly amazing. I mean, like the idea of Pulse and Cocoon, a planet within a planet of sorts. I really like the imagination. The thing is, what was really wrong about the game is the progression. I mean, honestly, most of the game they were like escaping the what were they called? The Psychom, yeah.
Well, are you talking about the like Lassie and Falsey, or
no? I mean the gang. They were escaping the Cocoon army most of the game.
Okay. To be honest, I don't remember. You know what? Before we go further with that, I want to save that for another episode, because I think it'll be fun to discuss. Because you just said that you think the story in 13 is amazing. I completely disagree. Because I think the story doesn't make any sense. Yeah, the episode done. The game over. No, that'll be a fun episode, because then if we can get Mark in there too, then he can give his opinions too. But I think it'll be fun for all of us to bounce off one another, because I don't think 13 makes any sense at all. So that'll be fun.
You're exaggerating, man.
I mean, maybe, but we can discuss that. We'll have a 13 episode. It'll be funny.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
So is there any other... Oh, actually, I was going to say, is there anything else you want to mention about 15? I want to talk about the soundtrack, because I feel like a lot of people don't care about soundtracks that much in games. I mean, a lot of people do, but not as much as the story or the gameplay. And I think music in Final Fantasy is essential. Like, if that music wasn't what it was, if Final Fantasy, I think, would actually be different to me.
All right. No, listen, the music is amazing. I mean, we've heard soundtracks like, For example, I have not encountered yet Apocalypse's Noctis, which we know how
yes.
divine
I think that's during the Titan
music
fight.
is. But for example, since the first location in the game is in a desert wasteland of sort, I got to at some point. I mean, there are no spoilers. At some point,
yes.
I got to a settlement for hunters. It was like all caravans and shit.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the thing is, the music really went like, I'm not sure how to explain it. It was like, suitable for the wasteland environment. It was like
like the theme was perfect for the situation you were in.
It kind of gave me a hint of the horror prison music somewhat. If you remember that one. It was kind of similar, but obviously
from Final Fantasy VIII.
No.
From Final Fantasy VIII.
7 horror prison. The one under Gold.
I'm sorry. I thought you meant the prison in 8.
Yeah, I mean
the one.
It's got that. It's got that same guitar playing somewhat.
Okay, that's very cool.
Which, the guitar screams, "You're in the wasteland, man. You're not going anywhere." Yeah.
Well, I mean,
this music
Nobu
in 15, the one with the settlement is kind of similar.
Yeah, Nobuo Uematsu is a master genius. He's the one that's been doing the Final Fantasy soundtracks for a long time. And Uematsu, I think the last one he did was 10, if I'm not mistaken.
Somewhat, yeah. I think he had help. From Masashi Hamauzu also.
Yeah, and then I think he actually dabbled in 14, Realm Reborn. I think he actually did some work on that too. But as far as mainline Final Fantasies, I think 10 was his last.
Yeah, I think so.
But Yoko Shimomura, she's the one that is the main composer for the 15 soundtrack. She's amazing because the soundtrack for this game is fantastic.
Job. I mean, so far the music has been epic. I mean,
yeah, it's very good.
I wasn't a fan. I mean, I like 13's soundtrack, but sometimes I wasn't a fan of the electronic music they were using. But so far in 15, they've got that. Apart from the epic orchestra music they've used, like in like Nox Eterna or Apocalypse's Noctis, there's also that sort of music that is suitable for the environment, like the one I just mentioned with the settlement in the wasteland. Yeah.
There's a lot of somber, like was it Somnus? Is the one that's has a lot of heavy piano in it. That one's very solemn and it's very beautiful. I like the tones in that one. And then the one that's my favorite, Apocalypsis Noctis, that song is epic as all hell. There's just a lot of variety to the music.
And that's the thing, the music so far has been very suitable for the area, for the environment in the game. I mean, for example, I'm just going to mention, if you don't mind, this is just an example. For example, the forest in Final Fantasy 13, you had that lady singing. Forgot the name of the song. It was like.
I don't remember.
Or something like that.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, and that actually was a catchy song. Yeah,
it was catchy, but I disliked it anyway. It wasn't suitable for the forest. I expected the forest to be more, foresty, the music, and not like some pop singer singing. But anyway, that's my opinion.
Exactly, yeah.
That was my opinion regarding the music.
Yeah, the music, Shimomura has done a very good job, and for anyone who hasn't actually watched it, they did a concert at Abbey Road, which is connected to the Beatles.
Yeah, I saw that on the YouTube also.
Yeah, they did a concert at Abbey Road with I forget the name of the orchestra, but there was an orchestra there, and then Shimomura was there, and they did a good amount of the soundtrack with a live orchestra, and I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it really was. It must have been a great experience.
Oh, for sure, definitely. I kind of wish I was there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's all the aspects. I can't think of anything else. I mean, again, you're the one that's actually playing the game. Is there any other details that you want to mention about 15? Or
Well, one thing's for sure is, if anyone was concerned about downgrades in the graphics, nope, there are no downgrades at all. It looks as clear as ever. It's amazing how visually stunning the game is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I played the Judgment demo, and even just from that, like it's definitely very pretty. There's a lot of ground to cover, and with how big it is, it's very, very beautiful.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you guys are in for a treat in the coming days.
Yes, absolutely. We got three days, or maybe a little. It's Saturday.
Yeah, I mean
here, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, so Monday night, and then at midnight. So yeah, it's about 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is my life right now. All right, I might sleep tonight because it's almost midnight here, and I'm kind of tired after a day's work. But I'm already planning that as soon as I wake up tomorrow, I take a quick breakfast, and it's Final Fantasy 15 again. Yeah,
yes.
I'm
well,
kind
that's
of
going to be my
to play
life
the
soon.
game
So.
So,
yeah, well, I mean, who wouldn't be? If you're not excited about it, you're a monster. So
yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, I've been waiting for the game for 10 years, and it's finally out. I mean, before the announcement in E3 2013, the game was rumored that it was cancelled.
Yeah, I know. I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, and now it's finally in our hands. I mean, after 10 fucking years since the first trailer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean,
and I want to thank. I know Tabata and his team aren't going to listen to this, or maybe they will, and that would be awesome. But Tabata is really a national treasure because he's the reason why this game is even completed.
Yeah.
A lot of people praise Nomura, and I don't like necessarily hate Nomura, but I think Nomura kind of is a procrastinator. I think he's more of an art director before a game director. So when they try to make him be a director of an actual game, he takes too long to decide what he wants to do with the project. And that's why you waited 6 years for Versus 13, plus other reasons. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that went on with that, but Nomura procrastinates. Or with Kingdom Hearts, for instance. Nomura created Kingdom Hearts, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and that series has been going on for so long, and people have been waiting for the third entry for years. Like, he's a procrastinator.
Man, don't get me worried about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think he's the one who's doing it.
Well, he's part of the directing team, but it's actually not even Square that's directly involved with that. So, it's like an outside. It's the developers that do the Naruto games. Mm-hmm. I can't think of the name of the developer, but that's another story for another time.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is Tabata doesn't mess around. When he clearly he runs a tight ship over there. Like when you watch him videos, he seems really personable and jolly. But I feel like when he's actually working, like he doesn't take any shit. Like he's like, this needs to get done. This needs to be perfect. Mm-hmm. And that's honestly why I'm not concerned about whether I'm going to like 15 or not. I mean, to each their own. Some people will hate this game, and you can't stop them from hating it. But I know I'm not going to hate this game. So.
No, you're not.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, yeah, that kind of concludes our, I think, conversation on 15. I did want to talk about World of Final Fantasy just a little bit, but my laptop actually doesn't have a lot of juice left in it, and I don't want it to die while we're recording. So. Yeah, we'll save that for another episode.
Yeah, I mean, maybe when we talk about it, Mark will join in and we can discuss it. All three of us together.
Yeah, because I know he's trying to platinum it because he's insane. Yeah. I don't know how he has all this time. Well, I do know it's because he never sleeps. But
well, that's one thing. I mean, I'm sleepy and I'm going to sleep soon. But probably he'll go to sleep at 6 in the morning or 7.
Yeah, he's insane.
He'll wake up at 9 in the morning, most probably. Just
he's
2 hours of sleep.
He's a crazy Scottish bastard, and we love him. So. But yeah, so I guess that will conclude the second episode and part 2 of the origin story.
Yeah, I mean, this has been great.
Yeah, well, thank you, Clayton. I appreciate you actually, getting here, and now we actually recorded together, so that was pretty cool.
It was about fucking time anyway, because, the others were like picking on us because we haven't released the episode yet. yet.
Yeah. Well, whatever. They're all a bunch of jerks. And Derek, if you're listening, you're a monster. I'm going to hire Tim soon, and then you're going to be all by yourself on Fathers of the Grind, crying like a little baby. So, join us, Tim. Yes.
We've got Chocobros.
Yes, exactly. So this is going to be the end of the episode. Again, I don't know 100% if Mark is going to be able to edit his piece in time. I want to try to release episodes every Monday. So I might actually release this without the sound clip or what you want to call it at the end with Mark. But if it is, then obviously there's more to this episode. But if not, this is the end. And I just want to thank everybody for listening.
Yeah, thanks guys for joining again.
Yeah.
Until the next episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the description of the YouTube page where this is posted, there's links to the Twitter and the Facebook group. If you want to go over to the Facebook group, that'd be cool. There's a bunch of nice guys and friendly guys over there talking about Final Fantasy, so you can talk about it with them.
That's not true.
Yeah. Well, some of them are nice. Some of them are monsters, but yeah, it was probably Derek. He's the worst.
Yeah, fuck Derek.
Yeah. And subscribe, please, because we want to try to be the official Chocobros channel. Because when you try to search for us on YouTube, there's actually other Chocobro channels that will say Chocobros. Yeah, they're just a bunch of wannabes. It's a hodgepodge of amalgamations of something Chocobo this or something Chocobro that. So we want to try to be the main Chocobros page. So just subscribe and comment and do all that good stuff.
We are the Chocobros.
Yes, we are exactly.
We actually have a Chocobro in our team. I mean, at least he has yellow hair.
Yes, that's very true. Yes. He actually is a human version of a Chocobro, yes.
Yeah, I mean, a Chocobo with a Scottish accent.
Yes. That would be that would actually be really awesome if they had a talking Chocobo with a Scottish accent. All right, Clayton. Well, thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Yeah. See you guys.
All right. Till next time.